Welcome. We are going to explore the benefit of using Dasha Lagna in Krishnamurti Paddhati. This is the horoscope that we are going to make use of. When you are reading a chart in a person's life, there could be possibly two or three life defining moments. The phase in life which a person will never forget, whether it is a positive or a negative. Sometimes the positive and negative, they tend to happen during the same Dasha-Antar. This is the focus for today's discussion. But it is a good idea to, when you are preparing the notes for a horoscope, it's a good idea to identify a very strong period and very negative periods, both periods in a horoscope. So that we are going to show how to do that in this horoscope. So you have a very strong period or a very negative period, but sometimes there are horoscope when the strongly positive or a strongly negative period tend to happen at the same time. First, we will run a general check, which I usually recommend to click on this option and make sure that the ascendant is not on the border or the moon is not on the border of two signs. So we find that ascendant is not on the border. It is Libra 18 degree, and the Saturn is conjoined very near on the cusp of the ascendant. Otherwise, rest of the things are normal. Nothing to be worried about in terms of uh, any borderline calculation. First, we will look at the dasha. You have to look at all the planets, but usually when we talk about a sharp rise or a sharp decline, then it's usually from the career or the professional point of view. So the age is going to be 25 to maybe 60 years. So the Ketu, if you look at this dasha over here, Ketu, Venus, Sun, Moon, I think these are the period that would be covered when this person is in a career or a profession. So time to set our objective. Objective is to identify strongly positive and negative period. This is the objective, and we are going to make use of the conform with Dasha. The KP rule for the positive, that is 2, 6, 10, and 11. So this indicates financial gain, success, winning over any kind of a competition, recognition for one's effort. So this is a positive combination, 2, 6, 10, and 11. Where it's 6, 8, and 12. This is a this is traditionally also in Parashari Jyotish, 6, 8, 12 is not a houses are not deemed to be good houses. In KP also, the combination of 6, 8 and 12 is not a good combination. It creates unexpected setbacks, decline in business, all kind of legal challenges, and it can sometimes leave a deep emotional and psychological scar also. But what happens when a person is running the Dasha and Antar Dasha, where both of these combinations are become active? So let's first look at the how the Cusp chart and the Dasha chart they work. So let's say Cusp chart, Dasha Lagna chart, not. So let's say the Cusp chart, a planet is good, and in the Dasha Lagna chart also it is good. Then this planet is going to be very good. Bad is very bad. But the real challenges you will face is when the cusp chart is good and the dasha is bad. Similarly, this is bad and this is good. Then you will have some challenges. Now, Professor, Professor K.S. Krishnamurti has mentioned the in the Dasha Lagna chart. This is not an independent chart from the cusp chart. This chart indicates a relative position of the Antar Dasha Lord from the Dasha Lord. So when you look at the Dasha Lagna chart, which we are going to do in a while, then all other planets which are going to appear as part of the Antar Dasha, then we have to look whether these planets are cooperating with the Dasha Lord. If they are not cooperating with the Dasha Lord, then that period is not deemed to be very positive. So, in other words, let's say if a planet is very good in the Dasha Lagna, sorry, in the Cusp chart, but when you look at the Dasha Lagna chart, you find that that planet is not cooperating with the Mahadasha, the Lagna chart. What is meant by not cooperating? It means that rather than showing, let's say, 2, 6, 10, it is actually showing 6, 8, 12, or it is showing some passive or neutral houses. So in that case, Professor Kishmurti says that the Antardasha Lord is not cooperating. Though in the Cusp chart, it seemed like it is cooperating, it is good, but in the Dasha Lagna chart, it seems to be not cooperating. So obviously, Professor has mentioned that when you are deciding about an event and you have to select the significators, and then in Dasha Lagna chart, if you find that planet not cooperating with the Dashana, then it should be ignored. That planet should be ignored. And the same is with the other way around. When in the Cusp chart, a planet is bad, but in the Dasha Lagna chart, a planet becomes good. This is a very mysterious kind of a thing which I have noticed in some horoscope, where the cusp chart seems to be very strong, though they are just serving as a E or D grade clerk in a very junior position. And but the cusp chart seems to be very strong with 2, 6, 10, 11. And this, I mean, if you are have been practicing Krishnamurti Paddhati for quite some time, I'm pretty sure you will run into these kind of a chart where you're not able to figure it out, that why these 2, 6, 10, 11 are not able to justify the kind of a lifestyle a person is leading. But when you look at the Dasha Lagna, then you find the whole scene has dramatically changed. So that is why the help of the Dasha Lagna chart can give you some more insight. Now let's focus on the which Dasha is going to be active during the happening years of this person. So let's look at the Venus. So you see the Venus starts at the age 36 and it's going to be there until age 50, 54. So this is usually the lifespan where the most of the things are happening in terms of the career and the profession. So this helps us just to focus on the Venus alone, because until and unless the Dasha is signifying the good or the bad houses in a very visible or a vocal way, then things are just going to be kind of a usual stereotype. So we can just cut short and look at what Dasha is going to be active during the happening years. So it is Venus. Now let's look at the what Venus indicates in this chart. If you look at Venus and in the light of these two rules, 2, 6, 10, 11, 6, 8, 12. So you see that Venus indicates the 2, 6, 10, right? It is indicating. You can see that Venus is indicating 2, 6, and 10. So Venus is, as the Dasha Lord, is very powerful in promising phase of financial gain and recognition for one's effort, positive result. But on the other side, if you look at this combination more closely, then you find that Venus is also indicating the 8, 12, and 6, right? So the Mahadashanath is indicating both the things very strongly. You see, Venus is untenanted. Venus is untenanted, so Venus is very strong. So the Dashanath we know is indicating the very strongly the good and the bad houses, both. Similarly, if you make a note of all the other planets which are going to appear as the Dashanath, then you will realize that the Rahu period. Look at the Rahu period. You see, Rahu is also very strong and at the same time very negative. So the Venus Rahu is one period which is extremely positive and extremely negative. You see, the 2, 6, 10 combination is there, and at the same time, the 6, 8, and 12 combination is also there. You will, I hope the role of the sixth house is clear to you in Krishnamurti Paddhati. Professor Krishnamurti has mentioned that sixth is not a positive house when it comes to other things in life. But when it comes to the material success, winning over the competition and getting into this service or gaining some money, then sixth house is a good house. when it join hands with other good houses. Means when sixth house join and with 10, 11, 1, 3 and all these houses, then it becomes good. But when it joins hands with the bad houses, then it becomes bad. So sixth house is like a turncoat. So Venus Rahu is not very is a mixed bag where you can see that it is showing both the good and the bad result. Now, what happened in this person's life if, during Venus Rahu? We will discuss that later. First, let's look at the the, the Venus Rahu in the Dasha Lagna. So let's so for the Dasha Lagna, if you don't know, then you have to click on this option. Now, since we are talking about the Venus Dasha, so let's look at the Venus Dasha Lagna. Like I mentioned, when we are looking at the Dasha Lagna chart, then we have to look at how the Antar Dasha is cooperating or not cooperating with the Dasha Lord. Because Dasha Lord you will always find in the ascendant, obviously. So let's look at the Rahu. In the Cusp chart, we found that Rahu indicates both the good and the bad thing. Here also, if you look, then you find that Rahu actually indicates the good and bad both things. 6, 11, 11, which is a good combination. And the presence of the first house. First house indicates that a person's effort will be successful. That's what 111 combination means. But at the same time, you see the 12, 6 and the 12th house appearing everywhere. 12th house is very bad. Actually, in 6, 8 and 12, the 12th is the worst house because it indicates all kind of inimical activities, loss, and backstabbing, separation. So Rahu, you see, indicates both the things. So in one way, now we have this assurance that the Cusp chart and the Dasha Lagna chart indicate the same trend when it comes to the Antar Dasha, that's Rahu. Let's also look at the Jupiter because after Rahu, the Jupiter period will be there. And why I'm saying the Jupiter period? Because see, when a person is running the bad and good period, not necessarily the period will be good, bad, not in this sequence. Sometimes the period could be other way around, that it is initially bad. Person is struggling, putting some efforts, and then he or she becomes successful. So how do you figure out whether this success is going to continue or not, or whether the bad phase is going to continue or not? Obviously, you have to look at the subsequent Antardasha. So after Rahu, the Jupiter Antardasha will be there. So if you look at Jupiter, Jupiter is not good at all. The 12-6, this combination, and then the especially in the Cancer ascendant, when Jupiter goes in the star of Mercury, it always creates some kind of a separation because 6 and 12 houses are the houses that indicate separation. Jupiter becomes the lord of the 6th house, and Mercury becomes the lord of the 12th house. So, in lord of the 6th is in the star of lord of the 12th, and 12-6 combination is not good. So, now you know that the sequence, you see how you can confirm the sequence is that first it is going to be a successful period during the Rahu period. Then there is a decline. and then that decline continues in the Jupiter period. So this is how the next or the subsequent Antardasha helps you identify the trend, what is going to happen during the Venus-Rahu period. And you're sure that when this person goes through the Venus-Rahu period, because it is bad in both the Cusp chart and the Dasha Lagna chart, then this person is surely going to contact many astrologers, and this is a particularly bad phase of time in life, and that is exactly what happened to this person. So now in the Dasha Lagna we see the trend that Rahu is bad, Jupiter is bad, Saturn is also not very conductive. So this is from the Dasha Lagna. Same thing we can confirm in the chart also. So this is how you can use the Cusp chart and the Dasha Lagna chart to identify remarkably good or very bad period, or both the periods in a particular Dasha, like we did in the Venus, and for which your client will be very thankful to you, because this you can identify very well ahead of the time, that during the Venus Rahu period this is what is going to happen. Now, obviously, the next question was about the remedy. I just wanted to, I want to finish the story that what happened when this person started feeling the heat of the bad period, and it was terribly a bad period. I mean, he was completely taken by surprise. There were some inimical activities, legal, because we saw that after Rahu, the Jupiter is also there. So the whole thing went to the court, I think, where he lost, and he lost a great deal of money. Truly a very remarkably bad period. Like, if you meet this person and ask that, is there any one period that you will never forget in your life? And this person will say, yes, the Venus Rahu period is that period, because it completely changed his life. So at that time, the lot of remedies, he contacted, I guess, someone in Varanasi, and some yagya, havan, and all those remedies were performed. And I was 100% sure that none of those remedies are going to work. These remedies, they don't work. I have a very kind of a sure outlook that these remedies, I have not seen the gemstone, yagya, havan, puja, and all that. It's okay if your client is interested. You should not resist. But these remedies, they don't work. What I suggested was, when I was looking at the horoscope, and I pointed this out, that you see the malefic planet in the ascendant. You see the Saturn over here is in the Rashi chart. Saturn is in the ascendant, and in the cusp also, the Saturn occupies the ascendant. So this is not a good combination. Whenever Saturn is in the ascendant, then that person, of course, that person might have some good abilities in some specific part of the organization, but this kind of a person should not be allowed to make decisions. That is what Saturn does. Saturn is going to cloud the visions, and that is what happened in this case also. And he kept on making senseless decisions, which ended up in such a disastrous for his business. So I told him that that this person should actually allow somebody else to take over and make all the decisions. Of course, they didn't listen to me. See, usually, when you're trying to suggest a remedy, then most of the client, they try to be more traditionally inclined, like, towards Pandit and all these puja part and things like that. But this is what I recommended. And of course, the second best remedy that I always recommend is the donation. So once again now, let me recap the the main topic of this video, which was the how to make use of the Dasha Lagna. When you start delving into the Dasha Lagna, many hidden secrets of the Krishnamurti Paddhati will come to your notice. I will share some charts where the Cusp chart is very strong. Krishnamurti Paddhati's rules doesn't justify the kind of lifestyle a person is leading, but the Dasha chart changes the whole scenario. So do dive into the Dasha Lagna, make use of it, and if you have something valuable to share, share it in the comment section. So that's all in this video. Thanks for watching.